I'm sure there's already been 1,001 stand-up comedy bits about it, but delivery fees have gotten out of control. I just went to go order a burrito online, and they wanted $10 in convenience fee and taxes and service delivery fees, and it's just, I was not happy about it. I paid for it because I want my burrito, but I am not happy about it. Hey everybody, Nick from OnGaard TCG, and today we're going to be playing a deck that won the OnGaard Invitational Series, or Season 1, and I am super sorry, I cannot pronounce this person's name, or at least their limitless name, so I'm just going to pop it right here. Congratulations to them for winning with the deck that I'm very, very excited for. But before we get into it, if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe, leave a like and a comment. All those things tell YouTube this is a good channel and other people should watch it. If you're in the market for some TCG accessories, I am now affiliated with Dragon Shield, which means you can use the link in the video description to get yourself some awesome Dragon Shield matte sleeves. They're the only ones I use. You show up to regionals looking and feeling like a pro. And if you use that link, I get a kickback, which means I can make more and better videos for you guys. Lastly, if you want to help support the channel a little bit more directly, you can become a channel member by clicking the join button, see all the different perks you get. None of that's ever expected. Just you being here is enough for me. Now, with all that out of the way, let's pop over to... with all of that out of... I feel like I really get tripped up there. Maybe I gotta find a different way to word this. Or so. Every video is the same thing. Let's hop over to PTCGO, where we can check out this winning list. As you can tell, we're talking about Single Strike, and we are, of course, looking at Single Strike Umbreon as one of our main attackers. Mean Look is Mean Look is actually a pretty good attack for just a Dark Energy. It does 30 damage, but your opponent's active Pokemon can't retreat. However, because this is a Dark type attack, if you have a Single Strike Energy on there, you hit for 50, which means on weakness you're hitting for 100 damage, enough to KO a Meloetta. You might get counter KO'd by a Mew VMAX the following turn, but it's something there. Also, Moonlight Blade for just a Dark and 2 colors does 80 damage, but if this Pokemon has any damage counters on it, the attack does 80 more damage. So you're hitting for 160, which is very easy to do considering the only form of Dark Energy we have is Single Strike Energy, and we'll talk about why that's super easy and important in just a minute. But that 160 damage for a Pokemon that is weak to Dark now hits for 320, which is enough to KO something like a Mew or a Shadow Rider, even if that Mew has an Oricorio in place, because I guess we might as well talk about it. The Single Strike Energy here provides Dark or Fighting type energy, your choice, and the attacks of the Pokemon that this card is attached to do 20 more damage. So that 160 for Moonlight Blade now becomes 180. 180 times 2 is 360. Sure, Oricorio reduces your opponent's attacks by 20, but we're still hitting for 340, which is more than enough to knock out a Mew VMAX. Even if they did have a Big Charm and Oricorio in play, still wouldn't matter. Why does this work so well? Because of the Houndoom with the Single Strike Roar ability, which says once during your turn, you may search your deck for a Single Strike Energy and attach it to one of your Single Strike Pokemon. If you do, that Pokemon takes 20 damage. So using the Single Strike Roar ability and putting an energy or accelerating energies onto Umbreon V here will activate the secondary effect of Moonlight Blade, because now you have damage counters and you hit for a ton of damage. We also have the Umbreon VMAX for a Dark and 2 colors. Max Darkness does a flat 160 whether you have damage counters on it or not. And again, that the Single Strike Energy is going to bring it up to 180, and times 2 for Dark Weak Pokemon will knock out any Dark Weak in the game. You also have an incredible ability with Dark Signal. When you play this card from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon, you may switch one of your opponent's Pokemon with their active. So you can take a bench Pokemon, switch it into the active. It's basically a free boss's orders. Do note that you cannot use this ability on Pokemon with something like Fusion Strike Energy attached to it, because Fusion Strike Energy does prevent abilities from targeting that Pokemon, which is really insane that they gave it that. I think the Single Strike version of Fusion Strike Energy, the Impact Energy, prevents like poisoning, and Spiral Energy prevents paralysis. So like To not get targeted by abilities is crazy, but that's not what we're talking about here. Also interesting to note that while Umbreon is a dark type, it's not weak to fighting, which is really important for this particular format. There are a ton of fighting Pokemon running around, so Umbreon being weak to grass is really good. Both Umbreon V and VMAX have a retreat cost of 2. Our other attacker here is Stonjourner. Stonjourner has the Giga Hammer attack. It does a flat 120 for 2 fighting and a colorless. However, again, we have single strike energies to boost our attack damage, so we could be hitting for 160. 160 times 2 is 320, enough to knock out Arceus V-Stars with Big Charms, enough to knock out Gengar V-Maxes. We can knock out almost any fighting weak Pokemon in the game. And then Lance Pulse will just do 60 damage if there's a stadium in play, which there almost always is. It's okay, you know, you hit for 80, 160, you're not really knocking out much with that, but it is maybe useful to get some chip damage on something. And interestingly enough, Houndoom is a pretty good attacker, especially in the Mew matchup. It's really good for sending up a Houndoom to deal with those Meloettas, because if you send up an Umbreon V to knock out a Meloetta, well, it's going to get counter KO'd, and now you know your opponent took 2 prizes. But if we use Houndoom, this Darkness Fang is going to get doubled. We're going to be hitting for 100 damage no matter what, minimum, because Darkness Fang does a base 50. Meloetta is going to get knocked out by Darkness Fang. It only has 90 HP. We have single strike energies on there anyway, so even if we do hit into a Mew V or Mew V Max, we're still hitting for 180 if we have 2 single strike energies on this thing, which, let's be real, is pretty easy to do in this deck. So there's a lot of ways or a lot of potential attackers that we can use to help offset the prize trade in this deck. We do have some things like Escape Rope for a little bit of maneuverability, or in case we need to move a Pokemon that does have a Fusion Strike energy or something like that. That's really helpful, and also it's really nice for when we start setting up Pokemon on the bench. We can get them into the active a little easier. We do have a lot of Pokemon search in the form of Evolution Incense, Great Ball, Quick Ball, and Ultra Ball. We even have Capture Energy to help get those Houndours out very, very quickly. The name of the game is to set up your Houndours as quickly as possible so that you can evolve them into Houndooms the following turn, and now you have your energy acceleration engine ready to go. Some other trainers. Tower of Darkness is a nice stadium. It's also a little bit of a consistency buff. You discard a single strike card from your hand to draw 2. Urn of Vitality is a very important card, because as we have to either retreat or Pokemon get knocked out, or maybe we just discard for whatever reason single strike energies, we can use Urn of Vitality to shuffle 2 of them back into the deck so that we can continue to accelerate them and reuse them with Houndoom. Piers is another really good supporter in this mostly dark deck, because you can search a deck for any energy card you want and a dark Pokemon, put them in your hand, and then shuffle your deck. So you can find something like a Crobat V to use the Dark Acid ability, which when you play this card from the hand to the bench, you can draw until you have 6 cards in your hand. Really, really nice. We cannot attack with Crobat, because the only form of dark energy we have is single strike energy. Single strike energy can only be attached to Pokemon with the single strike tag. So we can't exactly attack with Crobat V, but we have enough dark type attackers where it shouldn't matter too much. So with this, turn 1, we attach a Capture Energy, get a Houndoom or a Houndour. Next turn, we go ahead and play something like Piers to get a Houndoom and another energy, attach the energy, use Houndoom's single strike roar, boom, there you go. Now we're off to the races attacking with Umbreon for big damage. Some other really common supporters in general, boss's orders, and in those times that we need to boss up like a Mew VMAX, which you would think with Dark Signal we wouldn't need boss as much, but because Mew is very, very popular, and like I said, that Fusion Strike energy is going to prevent you from using Dark Signal on that Pokemon, we have just the regular boss's orders in order to bring them up anyway. Marnie and Professor's Research are our draw supporters, and then we have 1 copy of Air Balloon for a little bit of extra mobility and for a nice pivot. That's the whole deck. Let's see how it goes and performs. Going into game number 1, and I haven't played Single Strike in a minute. It's been mostly some type of Arceus variant. It's like the thing I've been playing the most, but seeing this win the OnGaard Invitational is really, really cool, and they won some cool decks. They won some good matchups. We are going to go first, absolutely. We get a Houndour. This is actually kind of okay. I'm really not too upset about this. So what we'll do, depending on, we'll see what we top deck, but I might just Tower of Darkness the single strike energy. That might be an option, because we have the Escape Rope, where we can start setting up something on the bench and then just switch. So that's not too bad. Playing Togekiss, that's a little annoying. They can be a little control-y, but we are going to go ahead and immediately dump one of these single strike energies, and we pull up a Quick Ball. So that's not bad. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this Marnie, I think. And we don't want another... So when you're playing something like Single Strike, you really need to keep track of how many Single Strike energies do you have in the deck, and how many Urn of Vitalities do you have in the deck. So we have 3 urns. We did not prize any of our energies, which is really good, because we have 1 in our hand and 1 in the discard. So we're looking pretty good, I think. We didn't really prize any urns. We didn't prize anything too important. So I'm feeling pretty good about this. And we'll go ahead and attach to the bench here. And I don't think I really want to do too much else. I kind of want to save this Ultra Ball to get a Houndoom if needed. So we're just going to go ahead and pass. And one of the things that I really would like to see in this deck is maybe a Lumineon instead of a second Crobat, just to really ensure that we can pull off that Piers play, because this is a perfect time for Piers. In fact, if I draw into a Piers, I will use that over a Research, almost guaranteed. So we'll see what our opponent does here. They might go ahead and Marnie us anyway, which, you know, I wouldn't be thrilled about, because we have the rope and there's the argument for playing it. But I decided not to, just because I don't think they're going to attack. They could Marnie. Togekiss is a little annoying for a lot of single strike decks because of that fighting resistance. But there's the Crushing Hammers, and they do hit it. Man, that's... I did not think they played hammers. It's a little irritating. So we can still go ahead and attack with with the Mean Look. So if we do Escape Rope and bring up something else off that active, off the bench rather, which it looks like we'll be able to, they put the Capture Energy, we can go ahead and Mean Look it so that they can't attack this next turn. And they're really setting up with these Togekisses. They're going to hit for White Wind for 20. It's not that big a deal. The Capture Energy is not exactly what we wanted to see. So we're going to go ahead and get a Houndoom. We'll Rope. Because I want to play Research, obviously. So they might give me the Eevee. They might give me, or one of the other Togekisses. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and Research before. Alright, that's okay. I think I'll go Capture. We'll get another Houndour. That's fine. Let's Great Ball, see what we can pull off here. We get another Umbreon. That's okay too. And we're going to Single Strike Roar. And now we will go ahead and just Mean Look for 50 damage. And they won't be able to retreat this next turn. They can evolve. But now they have to evolve the active, which is a little bit annoying. It's a little annoying for them because they have to evolve here and evolve here, attach. And then if they attach to this active... now, oh, it has free retreat. Man, that's ridiculous. I forgot Togekiss VMAX has free retreat. That's a little annoying. This Jolteon, by the way, if it has a memory capsule attached, water Pokemon have no ability, which not a huge deal. This Urn is pretty nice. I'm going to go ahead and Path to the Peak. Path to the Peak will stop Dark Signal from working, but it will not stop Houndoom. So as long as they don't hit us with 2 Crushing Hammerheads, we're okay to attack this next turn. Because we'll be able to Urn of Vitality, attach with Fighting Energy, and then Houndoom for the other single strike energy, so we just have to really hope that they don't do that. And they're just going to retreat into the other Togekiss. It looks like they might be having a little bit of trouble setting up. Discarding a bunch of cards right there. What was that? A Togekiss and another Eevee. Get another VMAX. They'll probably evolve. Oh, the active. Okay. And they got the double turbo energy. So the hit for Max Glide. Find 2 cards they need from the deck. Okay. Hopefully we can top deck something pretty decent. I would not mind a Marnie here. Again, this is somewhere where we would like a Lumineon, because they're going to search for 2 very specific cards. I don't want them to have those cards, so a Marnie wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Togekiss can be kind of annoying. And we get a Tower, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good top deck, so we can go ahead and get those into the deck, and we'll start setting up another Houndoom or another Umbreon on the bench here. I don't really want to draw into my energies at the moment, and we'll get rid of the Stonjourner. Evolution Incense, that's okay. That's pretty good. So we're really going to try to set up this Umbreon here. And let's... Max Glide does 120. We'll bring this guy up. And we're just going to go ahead and Max Darkness for 180. Put them on a little bit of pressure. They have 80 health left. So we're looking pretty good here. Honestly, a Houndoom with 2 single strike energies would be enough to knock it out. We didn't get the Marnie, which was a little unfortunate, but I think we're in a pretty good spot. They're not going to be able to... This is where Togekiss gets really annoying. The fact that they... Of course, they look for the Sharon's Care. They're going to be able to do Pal Pad and potentially even Eldegoss to get it back into the deck. And here comes another Max Glide. So I really wish I had that Marnie. Do I try to knock out this Togekiss? I have another single strike energy in the deck. This hits for 180. I can hit 200 and KO. So yeah, that could be something I try to do. We get an Urn. We'll dump this Umbreon. I don't think I'll really need it. Capture Energy. That's fine. I think I'm okay for now. I can retreat into this other Umbreon. I can't even boss this thing up. So do I do that? Yeah, I know I can Houndoom. If I leave this in the active, they'll take 3 prizes, so maybe I do retreat. And I'll get rid of... You know, we'll do the 2 special energies in case they try to like fan. I don't want them to be able to fan away this other one. And we'll Urn since we have it. And we are just going to Moonlight Blade for 200 damage. They'll probably Sharon's Care, if I'm being honest. And this is what I'm saying. Togekiss is just super annoying unless you can take the one-shot on them, which even Jolteon won't be able to do. Jolteon will still only hit for 200, even with weakness. They're just able to Sharon's Care and play a little bit kind of control-y, and it's super, super irritating. So, yep, there's the other Sharon's Care, of course. And they just can keep cycling through these and keep attaching DTEs. They'll hit for 100 damage. And then they can search the deck for 2 cards. They get the Big Charm. It's 340 health. I don't think I'll be able to get through this. I really have to try to, again, this is where something like Lumineon would be really good, because then I can try to disrupt them a little bit and make it so that they don't have the guaranteed Sharon's Care to go straight to the bottom, and it would be a little bit harder for them to draw into potentially. So yeah, but with that Jolteon, it doesn't have the memory capsule attached, so the Lumineon would still have an ability technically. But yeah, it's kind of annoying. We get a VMAX, I might as well survive another turn. We're going to bring this up. We'll dump. We'll attach. And let's go ahead and just max Darkness. Make it a little bit more annoying. They're not going to be able to use their Sharon's Care this next turn. We get an Urn and a Houndoom. Not particularly great. But they won't be able to take a knockout this next turn. But again, you know, now they just Pal Pad, Max Glide, find the two Sharon's Cares, and now they're set up. So there is the option to maybe boss up their Jolteon, take a prize there, and then try to get through just one VMAX. But it's not a great plan, mostly because of Sharon's Care and the ability to just search their deck for any two cards they want. They're going to go ahead and bosses up my VMAX here and take their own 3 prizes. So there's the Pal Pad. So because they didn't have to use Sharon's Care, now they had the opportunity to boss. It's a little unfortunate they had it in their hand. The exact amount of damage they need. And that's one of the problems with Single Strike, is that you damage yourself and you put yourself in situations where if I didn't have to damage myself for Single Strike Roar, I would have survived that attack. I would be able to take 3 attacks, or it would have to be 4 attacks actually, from Togekiss with the double turbo energy in order to KO an Umbreon VMAX. But because I damaged myself, now it's only 3. So a little annoying and a little problematic. So we're going to get rid of this Houndoom. We'll see what we can pull off this Great Ball. I don't think we really need anything. And we're just going to go ahead and Marnie. That's really the best thing I can do at this point. And we will max Darkness. Kind of hope that they don't have a way to attack, because if they, I mean, all they have to do is attach an energy, retreat, attack. Alright, even if I boss up and KO this Togekiss, then they're able to just counter KO the next turn. So they have to whiff this attack this turn in order for me to have a chance. And this Jolteon has 100 health. So I would need 3 Single Strike energies on a Houndoom in order to knock that out. They go with the Choice Belt. Looks like they might. Let's see if they have it. They're going to Marnie. So I lose my boss. Not great. Not great. I only have 2. I already used 1. And now 1's at the bottom of the deck. They'll hammer. It misses. It doesn't really matter because I'll be able to Single Strike Roar anyway. But that's an extra 20 damage that I'm going to have to take. Oh, and they just win anyway. So I don't even know what the point of all this was. Let's try one more game, and hopefully we don't get something as gimmicky as Togekiss again. We can play an actual deck. We'll go heads. We win the coin flip, so we will go. And we'll go first, that is. So let's see, we will take a mulligan. That's fine, that hand was atrocious. That's, again, one of the issues with something like Single Strike is that you could draw into 3 Urn of Vitalities like this, and then what do? If you research it away, you're in a ton of trouble, because then you can't cycle them back into the deck. And if you don't play the research, then you're stuck with 3 urns in your hand. So this isn't exactly a great start either, but we'll go ahead and at least Great Ball, nothing. It's at this point that I think I should get a Crobat. So I need a better start. And I don't want my opponent to path me immediately and not be able to use it. So, not exactly a better start, but at least, again, look at this. 2 of my 4 urns in my opening hand. It's not good. It is not good. What are they playing with the Snorlax? I mean, I'll be able to knock it out because the Lance Pulse, I'll hit 460 plus 20. Alright, so the Marnie's kind of nice. Again, I really don't want to see these urns so early in the game. And Single Strike is that kind of thing where this is a great hand. This is actually a legit hand. Oh, it's a Lucario deck. Single prize Lucario. Okay. Well, this is interesting. So I'm going to evolve. We'll Single Strike Roar. We'll put the 1. Lance Pulse will do 60, 80, and that will be enough to KO. I'm going to Marnie them down because I don't want them to have this big of a hand. And let's Quick Ball away this Ultra Ball, I think. And we'll get it. We'll start to get our Umbreon at some point, right? And now we'll just Lance Pulse. Take the KO. They won't be able to Gourmandize again. And we have an Escape Rope, which is kind of nice, so that this way if they do try to keep this Bidoof into the active or something like that, or maybe we can try to knock out their draw engine. We'll see what they end up doing. They'll probably go Bieber. No, they go Lucario. Okay. They have to have something in their hand if they're going to Evolution Incense for a Lucario. This will do... They can knock out this Stonjourner. So that's kind of annoying, because they can discard the 2 energies, and it will do 130 damage, which would have been enough anyway, but again, you could see where damaging yourself really becomes an issue. It's one of the big reasons why I haven't been a huge fan of Single Strike, is because you are putting yourself in these situations where it's like, you're allowing easier knockouts on yourself, and you can't afford that in this format. We'll send up the Houndoom. Alright, well, the game really wants us to play Urn of Vitality, so we'll get 1 energy here. You know what? It wouldn't have mattered. I only would have done 70. We can go ahead and Training Court, get the basic fighting energy. Drop. Well, Escape Rope. This has 70 health. And we'll draw a few. Piers is kind of nice. But I think at this point it's a little late. We'll get another Houndour. And Mean Look. They'll take 20 damage for Roaring Resolve, which doesn't really help us too much in this situation. Because that'll put him at 70, and then maybe I can come up and attack with the Houndoom. That's an option. Try to keep the prize trade a little bit. But this won't KO us. This will not KO us. So now that they only have 50 health, a little bit easier to use Houndoom. But still not an ideal situation to be in. They'll hit for 130. Marnie isn't terrible. Marnie isn't terrible here. I mean, it's not great, but I really didn't want to research my other Urn away. And this is not bad. Now they get the Bibarel, draw until they have 5 cards. Yeah, this... Why am I feel like every video lately I've been playing these weird... Not weird, Lucario's not a weird deck. It's just like... Who's even playing it? They hit for 160 because of the choice belt, which is a little annoying. Let's see. If we single strike Roar, and we have none, cool. Because we draw, and that's one of the other issues, is that you can draw into these things. I do 40 with a single strike energy. Wouldn't be enough. Man, this is so annoying. Okay, then now we have the other single strike energy. It doesn't really matter too much. Land's Pulse will be able to knock out the Lucario here, so that's cool. But yeah, it's just, you see what happens. You draw into all your urns, or you draw into all your energies, and now you can't single strike Rorak. I'm gonna take a knockout. They're gonna take 2 prizes here, all because a single strike energy was prized, and or I drew into a bunch of my single strike energies. Like, you can, and obviously this individual did do well with this single strike deck. You absolutely can, but it requires a fair bit of luck and in the decks that you play, and also the just how you draw. Like, this wouldn't be a huge issue if I was playing something like Mew. Again, Mew was always a tough matchup, but could play something like Mew and hit it for weakness and take 3 prizes, and then send up a Houndoom and knock out a Meloetta, and now your 4 prizes, boss up a Genesect, and it could be game. Like, it's not impossible. It's not that unrealistic. You're playing Arceus and Teleon? Okay, fine. Giga Hammer, knock out that Arceus in 1 hit, and you don't have to worry about Sharon's Care anymore. So, but if you draw into all your single strike stuff, if you draw into, like, I don't have any draw supporters at this point. I'm going to try to get into the Umbreon. And we'll land Pulse. They're going to counter KO this next turn, most likely. Yeah, it can handle some of the decks like some of the top decks in the meta, but if you start getting anything outside of those, you end up being in some trouble. So now they're just able to knock out this Stonjourner because they do 120. They do 130 rather, because it's 10 plus. So how many energies do they have in the discard? 4. They have 6 in play, 7 in play. They already used a rod, two rods, and an energy recycler. So like, how many energies can they really have in their deck? Right? There's 7 in play, and they use ordinary rods. There's 8 and an energy recycler. Like, that's a lot of cards. I'm just saying that's like a lot of deck space. You're already talking 8, 10, 11. Yeah, they just take the KO on these Crobats pretty easily. And then whatever I put out next turn, they just KO. Oh my god. Yeah, this is... Again, this isn't a criticism of the player, it's just a criticism of the deck, and Single Strike itself is very challenging. You run into these issues very frequently. And I don't have a draw support of any kind. I can't Luminion for one, so I can Giga Hammer. Cool. There's finally a VMAX. A VMAX would have been pretty nice, but the odds of them having a boss is pretty high to just bring up that Crobat either way, or a Houndour or something, and just take the KO. They'll be able to take the KO right now. So, yeah. So there you go, Single Strike Umbreon with Stonjourner. If you're playing Mew, you have a pretty good chance. If you're playing something like Arceus, you have a pretty good chance. But anything out of those decks, and you can really suffer. And even if you do play those decks, if you draw poorly, you draw into all your urns, you draw into all your energies, you draw into all your evolution Pokemon, you don't have any basics, or you draw into all your basics, but you can't find your evolution Pokemon. There's so many things that can happen with this deck. You prize your Single Strike energies. That happened, I've said this a billion times, but I was playing in a tournament, hit Shadow Rider with Single Strike Urshifu Umbreon, should have been an easy win, prize 3 Houndours. You can't win anymore. You are so reliant on having these cards in a particular order throughout the duration of a match that if anything goes out of order, you end up being in a lot of trouble at times. So I really commend this individual for winning the OnGaard tournament. They, in 8 rounds, they beat 3 Mews, 3 Arceus and decks, and they lost to a Mew, I think, and they beat a Shadow Rider. That was their 8 games, or the 8 rounds to win the tournament. And obviously it worked. How consistently will it work? Maybe they were just on fire. Maybe they, whatever happened for them to win happened. I'm not saying, like I said, I'm not trying to take it away or downplay it. I just don't see it at the moment. That's just my opinion. So let me know what you think in the comments below. I really want to hear from you. And what do you think of this deck? Have you had a chance to try it? Single Strike's state in the, or place in the meta as a whole. And yeah, that'll do it for us today. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, found it a little informative. If you did, subscribe, like, comment, check out Dragon Show, maybe consider becoming a member. And yeah, that's going to do it for us today. Thanks so much, and I will see you next time.